Summer Holiday by Penny Smith. Read by Beth Cordingly. Chapter 1. When Miranda Frayne was little, she'd wanted to be a vet, an astronaut, or someone who got lots of free stickers and felt-tip pens. At around 12 years old, she decided that being a vet was not a good job, since it seemed that all they did was put down hamsters, massage Minty, her Jack Russell, up her bottom, and get scratched by cats. Astronauts did not spend their days bouncing round the moon and far-flung planets, but instead did tedious experiments with seeds and rubbishy-looking rocks. She no longer wanted free stickers and felt-tip pens, but instead yearned to be famous and get married to Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. With that in mind, she put her name forward for every school play, and, by dint of hard work and the non-stop badgering of the drama teacher, managed, the year before she left, to achieve the giddy heights of Maria in The Sound of Music. The boy who wrote the review in the school magazine described her as radiant, moving, a star in the making. Miranda had discovered early that if you wanted something badly enough, you had to be prepared to kiss really unattractive people, sometimes more than once. If she had not virtually sucked his head off at the back of the cinema, he would have written a very different critique. He would have said that as a nun she was unconvincing, and as a singer she'd made his ears bleed. He would have said that she should take up any other career but acting. But once caught, the performing bug is difficult to shake off, and there are any number of people willing to take your money for everything from headshots to acting lessons. Luckily for the viewing public, fledgling starlet Miranda Frayne fell in love and decided that what she really wanted to do was get married and have babies. In her dreams, she imagined combining a career in film with bringing up children, but MGM failed to come knocking at the house in Oxfordshire, and instead she trod the boards in amateur plays, where the costumes were creaky, the sets were wobbly, and there was always a sweaty man playing fourth lead who wanted to have an affair with her. It was all so dispiriting that, eventually, Miranda settled on acting the part of the devoted wife, and became a passionate advocate of scarf knitting. She would have liked to create something a little more advanced, but, frankly, with 2 small children and a man who wore Savile Row suits and cashmere from Brora, that was never going to happen. Nigel Blake, her husband, was everything she had wanted. Smart, funny, handsome, and rich. She hadn't realised she wanted rich, but increasingly it was the only thing he still was. When she divorced him after 2 decades, having discovered his long-standing shagfest, as she called it, with his secretary, she would have described him as fat, boorish, and rich, or knobhead for short. But he was the father of her 2 children, so she reserved such comments for evenings when she was out with her friends and for phone calls with the man himself. Meanwhile, she was living in London, back on the dating scene and hating it. It was like constantly seeing bad films. She had started off excited about the prospect, and then, over 2 years, a sort of malaise had crept over the whole thing, and she had stopped worrying about matching underwear, or even matching outerwear. And as for her friends' views of what constituted handsome, here she was, for example, on yet another night out with an allegedly suitable man. Passers-by, glancing into the little restaurant, would have seen a couple who had probably been married for an eternity. They weren't speaking. Miranda was bored again. She imagined her date as an icon on her computer that she was deleting. And while she was at it, she might delete some of her friends' numbers. How on earth they could think that this pompous tit was her cup of tea? And her steak was tough. Still, at least it was giving her teeth a workout. Sorry? She raised her eyebrows at her dining partner. I asked if you wanted more wine. No, she responded baldly. Thank you, she added. No point in adding rudeness to the patronising she had already been. Mind you, he deserved it. Right-wing, fascist, fat, twat. She smiled as she thought it. What?
Sample complete. Ready to continue?